As the morning rays of February 18, 1519 hissed the tranquil waters of the Caribbean Sea, a sense of anticipation flooded the rugged shores of Cuba, whispering secrets of ambition and adventure. Immersed in the temptation of distant lands, an enigmatic and clever Spanish explorer called Hernán Cortés stood poised at the precipice of destiny, ready to embark on a journey that would forever alter the course of history. Behind him, a rather humble yet determined assembly, 100 sailors, 11 ships, 508 soldiers, and 16 majestic steeds awaited his command. Their destination? None other than the majestic city of Tenochtitlan, the jewel of the ancient Aztec Empire, where the streets were said to be paved with gold and the temples reached towards the heavens. Their mission? Threefold in its ambition: to expand the dominion of the Spanish crown, to spread the gospel of Catholicism to the indigenous peoples of distant lands, and to plunder the fabled riches rumored to lie hidden within the heart of Mesoamerica. And so, with the sun painting the sky with hues of gold and wind in their sails, the intrepid explorer and his valiant company cast off from the shores of Cuba. Unknown to the Spanish authorities, they embarked on an unauthorized expedition to Mesoamerica and, more specifically, to the land of the Aztec Empire. The early 16th century saw the Aztec Empire stand as a towering colossus in the heart of Mesoamerica, its dominion stretching across vast swaths of territory and its capital, Tenochtitlan, standing as a beacon of power and splendor. Nestled amidst the shimmering waters of Lake Texcoco, Tenochtitlan was a marvel of engineering and urban planning. A city unlike any other in the world, its skyline was dominated by majestic pyramids and towering temples, each adorned with intricate carvings and colorful murals that spoke of the empire's rich cultural heritage. But Tenochtitlan was more than just an architectural marvel. It was also the beating heart of a vast empire that spanned from modern-day Mexico to Guatemala. From their central location, the Aztecs ruled over a diverse array of peoples and cultures, extracting tribute and maintaining order through a complex system of alliances and vassal states. At the height of its power, the Aztec Empire was a formidable force to be reckoned with, its military prowess unmatched in the region. Its armies were vast and well-disciplined, equipped with weapons forged from obsidian and copper, and led by seasoned commanders who knew the art of war like few others. But for all its might and majesty, the Aztec Empire was not without its flaws. Its rulers were often seen as harsh and tyrannical, demanding ever-increasing tribute from their subjects and ruling with an iron fist. And beneath the surface, resentment simmered among the empire's vassal states, leading to frequent rebellions and uprisings that threatened to destabilize the entire region. It was against this backdrop of unrest that Cortés and his men made landfall on the Yucatan coast, where they first encountered indigenous people who spoke of other Europeans who had met misfortune at the hands of local Mayans. Among the captives liberated by Cortés was Geronimo de Aguilar, a Franciscan friar whose fluency in the local Mayan language proved invaluable in navigating the treacherous terrain and forging alliances with indigenous groups along the way. But it was not just linguistic prowess that Cortés acquired on his journey. In a gesture that echoed both diplomacy and strategy, and perhaps to gain favor with the Spanish conquistadors, an Aztec chief presented Hernán Cortés with a troop of enslaved Mayan women. Among them was Malinali, a woman of Nahua descent who would later be known as La Malinche. Fluent in both Nahuatl and Mayan Chontal, La Malinche emerged as a crucial intermediary, bridging the vast gap of language and culture that separated the Spanish invaders from the indigenous peoples they encountered. With La Malinche and Aguilar by his side, Cortés led his conquistadors into the heart of Tenochtitlan, where they were initially met with open arms by Emperor Moctezuma II. Emperor Moctezuma II, also known as Montezuma, ruled the Aztec Empire from 1502 to 1520, ascending to power after the death of his uncle, Emperor Ahuitzotl. Moctezuma II's reign was marked by both reverence and fear among his people. He was respected as the ruler of a vast and powerful empire, but his leadership was also seen as oppressive by some. Hernán Cortés, clever and perceptive, saw beyond the initial hospitality of Moctezuma II and became increasingly suspicious of the emperor's hidden motives. Concerned that Moctezuma's people might turn against his men, Cortés took drastic measures. He placed the emperor under house arrest, hoping to govern through him, believing that this move would prevent any potential attacks from the Aztecs. But before he could do that, alarming news reached him. The Cuban governor had dispatched a Spanish force to arrest Cortés for insubordination, aka defiance of authority or refusal to obey orders. Leaving his trusted lieutenant, Pedro de Alvarado, in charge of Tenochtitlan, Cortés embarked on a daring mission to confront the approaching troops. In a fierce battle on the coast, Cortés and his men emerged victorious, capturing surviving Spanish soldiers to strengthen their ranks. However, when Cortés returned to Tenochtitlan with his additional forces, he found the city in upheaval. During his absence, Alvarado had unleashed a massacre, slaughtering hundreds of Aztec nobles during a ceremonial feast. The brutality sent shockwaves through the empire, igniting a firestorm of unrest and rebellion among Moctezuma's subjects. As Cortés grappled with the consequences of Alvarado's actions, the fragile peace that had held Tenochtitlan in its grip began to crumble, plunging the city into chaos and setting the stage for a bloody showdown that would echo through the ages. You see, Cortés's plan of using Moctezuma was backfiring. The Aztec emperor's submission to the Spaniards had weakened his standing among his people, and his control over Tenochtitlan waned. According to Spanish accounts, Montezuma attempted to address his subjects, but he was met with hostility and pelted with stones and arrows. The injuries he sustained proved fatal, and he passed away 3 days later. With the Aztec ruler out of the picture, the Spanish faced fierce resistance from the city's inhabitants. Forced to retreat, they regrouped and returned with a small fleet of ships, determined to reclaim their lost foothold in the heart of Mesoamerica. In a stroke of strategic brilliance, Cortés forged alliances with indigenous groups who harbored deep-seated animosity towards the Aztecs. Among them were the Tlaxcala and Cempoala, city-states that had long suffered under Aztec rule and now saw an opportunity to settle old scores. United in their cause, the Spanish conquistadors and their indigenous allies laid siege to Tenochtitlan, their combined forces encircling the city from May 22 to August 13, 1521, a grueling campaign that would test the mettle of both sides. For 93 days, the streets of Tenochtitlan echoed with the sounds of battle as the defenders fought valiantly to hold back the invaders. But in the end, sheer determination and superior firepower won out. And on that fateful day in August, the once mighty city fell to the relentless onslaught of Cortés and his allies. From strategic positions in nearby indigenous campsites, they launched relentless attacks on the city, gradually tightening the noose around its defenses. Yet even as the siege wore on, another more hidden threat began to rear its head. Unknown to the Spanish, some among their ranks had unintentionally carried a deadly virus from Europe, smallpox. As the Spanish traversed the Atlantic and made landfall in the Americas, the virus found fertile ground among both their indigenous allies and the Aztecs themselves. While some historical accounts have suggested that it was salmonella, not smallpox, that ravaged the Aztecs, the toll of disease on their population cannot be underestimated. The first recorded case of smallpox in the region emerged in Cempoala, one of the city-states aligned with the Spanish, when an enslaved African fell ill with the disease. From there, the virus spread like wildfire, indiscriminately infecting Aztec troops, members of the noble class, farmers, artisans. No one was spared. With no knowledge of the disease and no means of combating it, the residents of Tenochtitlan found themselves defenseless. The city's priests and healers, despite their best efforts, were powerless to stem the tide of death that swept through their streets, leaving devastation in its wake. Adding to that, the Spanish, hailing from a war-oriented culture with a long history of conquest and territorial expansion, brought with them a wealth of military experience and expertise. Trained in tactical strategies and equipped with state-of-the-art firearms and armor, they deployed a devastating combination of cavalry charges, trained war dogs, and overwhelming firepower that left their opponents reeling. As the siege tightened, the once vibrant streets of Tenochtitlan became marred by the grim sight of fallen warriors and innocent civilians. Ultimately, the relentless onslaught of the Spanish forces, coupled with the ravages of disease, brought the once mighty Aztec Empire to its knees. Its rulers, including members of the royal family, were compelled to confront the harsh reality of Spanish dominion, a reality that would forever reshape the destiny of Mesoamerica.